single-use plastics are exceedingly popular among Americans, we also recognize their drawbacks and the problems they present towards the environment.
A poll conducted by the nonpartisan polling platform ISPOS states that 83% of Americans are concerned about single-use plastics. Single-use plastics have permeated every aspect of our lives, from straws and lids for our drinks to stereo packaging for life-saving medical equipment. Using them is quick and easy, but it comes at a great cost to our environment. The United States produces about 225 pounds of plastic waste per person each year. Think about that. This means that each of us, on average, generates 225 pounds of plastic waste per year. Much of this plastic ends up in landfills, in nature, or in developing countries that don't have the resources to handle such a massive volume of imports. They aren't biodegradable. They just break down into smaller, still harmful microplastics. Regular plastics and microplastics have been found in the stomachs of whales, fish, turtles, and seabirds around the world. They have permeated almost every ecosystem through careless pollution.
So, what should we do now?
When considering the issue of single-use plastics, it's not as simple as conservation versus pollution. Much of their use is simply for convenience. However, their sterility is integral to the medical field and their accessibility is fundamental to people with disabilities. Therefore, while single-use plastics have many faults, they serve important purposes for many different communities. Not only are we considering conservation of our environment, but we are also considering accessibility and safety for people with disabilities and for the people working in the medical field.
Much of the blame when concerning single-use plastics falls on the consumer.
According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, only 9% of all plastics are recycled. Much of the blame when considering this waste falls on the individual consumer. Activists call upon everyday citizens to be more aware of their recycling habits. But is that the right way to go about reducing the use of plastics? An NPR article states that no plastic, not even soda bottles, one of the most prolific items thrown into recycling bins, meets the threshold to be called recyclable. Are producers at fault for making non-recyclable products, or are consumers at fault for not utilizing proper recycling techniques?
Should activists call on their producers to make their products easier to recycle?
For some people, reducing the use of plastics is harder than it is for others. An NPR article states that for many people with disabilities, going without plastic straws can be a matter of life or death. People with disabilities need the flexibility of plastic straws, while people with lower incomes may not be able to buy sustainable products. They may not be able to afford an expensive Stanley cup or hydro flask that sells for around $35 to $40. They may be forced to buy fast fashion clothes that can contribute to overconsumption and environmental waste, according to a New York Times article.
Should we consider it sustainable to use a plastic water bottle instead of a hydro flask? Or to take used plastic bags instead of cotton ones? While we must consider the roles of producers and consumers in reducing single-use plastics, we also must consider the role of government in doing so.
Government intervention falls under 5 main categories: bans and restrictions, extended producer responsibility, taxation, education awareness, and innovation research. What routes would be the most effective in reducing single-use plastics? Environment America states that bans in 5 states and cities have cut single-use plastic bag consumption by about 6 billion bags per year. However, Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm has stated that by advancing technologies that repurpose single-use plastics and make the materials biodegradable, we can hit a trifecta of reduced plastic waste, fewer emissions from the plastic industry, and an influx of clean manufacturing jobs for American workers. Plastic bans have a more immediate effect, while funding research would provide the possibility for long-term alternatives.
How should the government balance urgency with innovation? We're here to learn from everyone else's experiences and perspectives. Assume everyone else's statements from a genuine place of good faith. Give everyone else's ideas the respect you will want them to give yours. Keep an open mind, even to unpopular opinions.